Hey gang, welcome to Homemade Heroes. I am Jay, and I'm going to say something that I feel like I've said quite a lot recently, which is this video is going to be something a little different. In this video, I am going to discuss what we can hope for, what we could get, what we should get, what I would like us to get for Series 2 of Dungeons & Dragons LEGO minifigures. Now, by no means has the appearance of this Series 2, this mythological thing, the Series 2 of Dungeons & Dragons minifigures, been announced. Who knows? I'm hoping that other creators like myself are also advocating for a second series of the D&D minifigures, as no doubt if you've been watching my channel, you are also really excited about the D&D minifigures and are hoping for at least a second series, maybe even multiple series, as we've seen with other things like Marvel. So if you're keen to see another series of D&D LEGO minifigures, please drop a comment below. Tell other people that are creating this kind of content around D&D and LEGO to talk about it so that we can encourage LEGO to go ahead and do that. Obviously, what they're going to do is probably beyond our control. It will depend on the sales of these minifigures, and I don't know where that's at. Have sales been good? Have they been bad? I know I've certainly bought quite a few of these minifigures, but who knows how many other people have. But enough of that for now. Let's take a look at the current minifigures and figure out where there might be some gaps. Here are the images of 2024's LEGO D&D minifigure series. As you can see, we've got our 4 named characters. We've got Sass Tam, Strahd, Tasha the Witch, and the Lady of Pain. I'm guessing that in a second series we would also have 4 named characters, and in a second you'll get to see the 4 that I think we should have in the series based on their fame in the lore of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, as far as species are concerned, we saw a dwarf, we saw an elf, we saw a dragonborn, tiefling, Githyanki, Aarakocra, the halfling druid, and of course many people's favorite, certainly one of mine, the Mind Flayer. And I think the Mind Flayer here is a really key figure, as this is a monstrous species, a species that we don't have as a player character, typically in 5e Dungeons & Dragons. I've been trying to rack my brains to think of, are there any other humanoid or bipedal monstrous species that could appear in a second series, but I haven't come up with anything. I want something that's as iconic as the Mind Flayer. For example, beholders. They are very clearly an iconic species from Dungeons & Dragons, but wouldn't really work as a minifigure because they're not bipedal. And we do have brick-built versions of beholders already. If you can think of any other bipedal or humanoid-like monsters that would be really cool to have in the series, then let me know in the comments below. Alright, here is my list of the 2024 series, and we've discussed these already, so I'll just scroll down here and show what I'm thinking about for 2025 Series 2. So first up is Drizzt Do'Urden. Drizzt Do'Urden is a Drow Ranger from Menzo Berenzin, a Drow city beneath Faerun. Drizzt is one of the most well-known characters in Dungeons & Dragons lore, and is the key protagonist of R.A. Salvatore's novels set in Faerun. Next we have Elminster Omar, and Elminster is a human archmage, also extremely well known in the lore of Faerun, and would be one of those figures within the setting that is known throughout the land. Everybody in Faerun knows who Elminster is. Next we have Vecna, who is an Archlich. Vecna's had a surge of popularity and renown recently after being one of the key big bads in Stranger Things, and more recently appearing in their own adventure known as Vecna Eva Ruin. And finally, a figure from human folklore transferred into Dungeons & Dragons, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is a hag and an archfey who resides in the Feywild. Of our 4 named characters that I would like to see in 2025, I feel like Baba Yaga may be the most difficult for me to build, as it's been difficult to find good images of what she looks like. However, I'll put something together and you let me know what you think. Moving on to our other 8 minifigures. We have at the top of that list a Goliath, Blood Hunter or Fighter. Goliath is one of the selectable species that appears on D&D Beyond, the basic version. And so I wanted to put this in here. One well-known Goliath is Grog from the Legends of Vox Machina. And if you're curious to see what my version of Grog looked like, check out the video I did on Lego minifigures for Vox Machina. Next we have gnomes, and I would love to see specifically a Svirfneblin or Deep Gnome. And it would be cool if they were a wizard, specifically from the Illusion School of Magic. Third on my list is Half-Orc. We've had plenty of orcs that come out in different themes of Lego in the past, but it would be cool to see a half-orc version, and I think a cleric would be a very fun way to represent an orc. In my head I can see a heavily armored orc with a shield and a mace or a hammer or something like that, representing one of the gods of Faerun, perhaps Tyr or maybe Lathander, who is a god of light and therefore not usually connected with orcs or half-orcs. Next we have Genasi, and we have 4 different Genasi to choose from, of course. Personally, I would love to see an Air Genasi Bard, as I have a player in the weekly game that I'm running right now who is playing an Air Genasi Bard, and it is such a good fit. Air Genasi do not need to breathe, don't need to take a breath, and so they're able to play instruments or sing and so forth without any restrictions on their breathing. It has been a fun little feature that's come up a few times in the game. Next we have an ASMR Paladin, and this could be tweaked a little bit, and perhaps it could be a fallen ASMR, or perhaps an ASMR Oathbreaker Paladin, breaking away from those more typical or stereotypical matchings of species and class that we sometimes see. Following the ASMR is a Dragonborn, and yes, I know, we have had a Dragonborn already, and have you seen how popular it is? How much is it selling for on eBay at the moment? Having said that, it would be really cool to have another Dragonborn, but in a chromatic color rather than a metallic. So this could be red, white, black, green, or blue. And personally, I would really like to see probably like blue or black would be awesome. And then having them as a monk. I think this one's going to be really fun to build, as I've got quite a few Ninjago figures with the robes and sashes and so forth that look very monk-like. I'm excited to see how this one might appear. 2 more to go here, and the second to last one is a Kobold Wizard. I just love kobolds. I think they're really cool. There aren't any really good fits in Lego right now for a kobold, as they have that sort of like reptilian but also slightly dog-like features, and the legs are of course the digitigrade legs where their toes are on the ground. So it would be cool to see the leg piece be something like that, and to have a pronounced snout. What I use for kobolds right now are the reptiles from Chima, and they're not the best, but they work for the time being. Perhaps the kobold could be a chronergy wizard. I can imagine them with some cool accessories, such as an hourglass with the sands of time slipping through it, something like that, which would be a great fit for that particular school of wizardry. And last on our list, I would love to see a Kenku or a Goblin Rogue. There are plenty of Goblin alternatives in Lego already, so in some ways I would prefer to see the Kenku, and I think they could do a really cool mold of the feathered arms, something like the chicken suit, which is in one of the Lego minifigure collectors series. The only problem with that would be that they wouldn't have hands that could grip onto weapons and other accessories. But I think a Kenku with black feathers, or a goblin, maybe with a different shade of skin color to the typical goblins we see with green skin, that would be really awesome. Okay folks, that's it for today. Just let me know what you would like to see in a second series of the D&D Lego minifigures, as I'm planning to make my wish list for a video pretty soon, and I'd love to have your input and perhaps even include it in the video. Thanks again for stopping by, and farewell for now.